welcome councillors here. Oi, oi. Welcome councillors here today and get this meeting underway. Mr Mohi, would you please open our meeting for us? Caught you on the spot. I'll catch you on the spot.
Iho, he te mātou matu e tirangi, kauri mātou ki a hui tēnei ata. Mana ki te ea mātou hui ki te kōrero ngā mea e pana ki te tai au o tēnei taki wā whānui. I tēnei wā kahuri o mātou whakaro ki te kaupapa o tara. Te mihi ki a tō mātou tiamana Rex ki a whakarahi a mātou mō ngā tau ka heke mai nei. Ko te hene ngaro hoki o tēnei rā ka huri ki tō mātou tumuaki ngā rā i mua anuru. Ko te tumanako o te ngākau, ko tai te rangi maare ki a ia. Ki a mātou hoki. E nei mea ka pātai ki runga te ngoi kora te aka ki Amene.
Thank you very much. And I'd also like to welcome the members of the public and the press here today as well. Are there any apologies? There are none. Everyone's here, aren't they? Yep. So there are no apologies. Any notices? Yes.
This is in the nature of a query. It's probably the only place I can raise it. Who will be in attendance at the annual plan, strategic plan workshops?
I'm not sure. I presume everybody, other than those who make apologies. Do you want to specifically look at people's diaries now?
Well, I'm inquiring because of the workshop the other day, which was attended by a non-elected member. Is that non-elected member attending these sessions?
Very interesting question. You're talking about the councillor-only workshop where
Yes.
the chair of the co-chair of the Treaty Claimants Group attended and the chair of the Māori. You're talking about that?
I am.
I think we probably need to address this issue and probably take a vote on it. The councils have a view? Yes, Tom?
I don't see what the issue is, Mr. Chairman. We often have had workshops where we have invited other folks who we thought relevant to the occasion to participate. I don't see what issue this raises.
Are there any other comments from councillors?
Could I just suggest, Chair, that this has got some implications in it, that you simply note the matter from councillor, have a think on it and come back to us sometime later. I wouldn't want us to make a decision on this on the fly.
Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. But I think it does need actually a more considered discussion around it. I've got no particular issue other than a matter of process, and I mean that's what this council's built on. So,
Yeah, sometimes I find that rather unfortunate that process gets in front of fundamental principles, but do other councillors think that that is a good idea, that I would like to deal with this issue today. It's been raised by Councillor Dick. I want to deal with it. Everybody knows where their positions are on this. I'd be happy to deal with it right now, but I'm also equally happy to leave it for later on.
just a question. I mean, it's your prerogative to deal with it now, but wouldn't we be better to have a more considered dialogue with the Regional Planning Committee before we went any further with this, to see what they wanted? Because, and I'll have you hear me out, you know, that particular member, in theory, should be sitting at the council table. That's where this goes. That's where this ends up. But we need to understand from them what they want. So that's my issue with it.
Mr Mohi, do you have a view on all this?
Well, only to say that the as chair of the Māori Standing Committee, that committee is there at the behest of this council. So we can be made redundant whereas the other one is by statute. So they're two completely different issues.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make the point that we have always traditionally taken our counsel from Mr. Mohi. He sits at the council table, and it's appropriate that he should attend the workshop. But as far as the other chairman is concerned, and I have great respect for him, he's a friend of mine, and it embarrasses me to have to raise this matter, but it's a matter of principle. And at these workshops, we are and will be discussing matters of significant strategic and commercial sensitivity. And quite honestly, I believe that's a matter for the persons who sit around this council table, including Mr. Mohi. The other committee has a confined brief, and that relates to the development of resource management plans. It's a very specialised committee. Doesn't have the broad brief.
Councillor Sharp?
If there's any change to elected members sitting in this forum, I need to know the financial implications as well when we're doing a considered look at this. Because it's ratepayer money we're speaking about.
Exactly. I think we will discuss this amongst ourselves and we will take a vote. But indeed, Councillor Dick, it is a matter of principle. And some of us would think that it is a matter of principle about partnership with Tangata Whenua, which we've all agreed to, and that the Regional Planning Committee is a manifestation of, the first manifestation of that partnership. And whilst not everybody loves it, not in Kahanunu or in European land, it is what we have and it is what we have to work with, and I personally believe we need to get behind the principles of partnership. But I'm happy to leave it on the table to discuss, but I want it resolved pretty quick.
I just make the point, Mr. Chairman, that I, together with our Chief Executive, who unfortunately is resigning today, were largely instrumental, together with Ms. Lambert, in forming that Joint Plan Committee. I'm particularly supportive of it, but I'm also supportive of the role of elected members who are the ones who are accountable here.
Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Councillor Dick, for bringing this matter up so that we can start this discussion. I think that's really important. But also agree with you, Chair, that in terms of building our partnership with our local Tangata Whenua, I think this is quite an important move that we get the Regional Planning Committee involved in as much as we can. But I'm also happy to leave that decision to another day after we've had a bit of discussion amongst ourselves, because I'm inclined to agree with Councillor Barker and Wilson that if we made this decision today, I think it would be one that's full of emotion rather than one that's where we've had a really well-considered position.
Then we will leave it on the table, even though I disagree with that. It seems to be I'm the only one. We all know what we think about this, and I'm not the only one. Tom's with me. We should get on and make these decisions. We need to show leadership in this community and in this country. And we're just doing another procrastination, which I find we're quite good at times. Anyway, let's leave it. I don't know when we're going to leave it to, but I will be putting it high on the agenda. You can be sure of that. So do we have to move to accept the apologies, do we? That's what we have to do? Someone move that we accept. Sorry? Don't have to? There were no apologies. So we'll move on to item 2. No new conflict of interests. There are no new conflict of interests. Therefore, we will move on to confirmation of the minutes, and you will have all read them. Where are they? I had them here. Here they are. So, I won't go through them page by page because they are immense. Are there any corrections to the minutes? And if there are, could you nominate the page and the correction? Page 1, oh, good one.
You've just got,
Page 2, you mean?
No, I'm on page 1. My name's got
Oh,
new initials.
Mr.
DH.
Yeah.
Sounds very
If you
presidential.
can correct my middle name or take it out, that'd be good.
Same.
Thank you.
FW is very presidential as well. W out. Anyone else on page 1?
Yeah.
Don't want to be here all day. PE. PEB. It's PE.
If you just make a note, I'll take out all the second initials.
Yeah, take out all the
That's supposed
second.
to be
Yeah.
there.
Why don't resolve take out all the second initials? Yeah. Okay, any other corrections to the minutes?
I think just in public excluded, it might be interesting to note that matters arising were denied.
Where's that? What page? It's on the public excluded minutes, is it?
Chair, we haven't dealt with those minutes yet.
No, we're not dealing with these. We're dealing with the minutes of the general meeting, councillor. Thank you. Okay, if there are no other, I'd like a mover to say the minutes are correct. A mover. Councillor Bailey, second, Councillor Wilson. All those in favour that the minutes of our last regional council meeting are correct? Aye. We'll move on. Follow-up items from the previous regional council.
Thank you, Mr.
Those.
Chairman. Good morning, councillors. I think items 1 to 4, the status comments are self-explanatory. I'll ask Mr. Palmer to perhaps elaborate a little bit on number 5, but are there any questions on numbers 1 to 4, please?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I just wondered, it's not in either 1 to 5, but I'm just interested to know where was a follow-up included to the resolution around the second phase of the Havelock North water inquiry. What happened to that resolution and the follow-up actions? Can you tell me?
Well, the resolution, through you, Mr. Chair, the resolution's still in effect, and staff are aware that once that stage 2 is initiated, that we're required to bring that information back to you. We don't necessarily follow up every action. If it's already in a resolution, it's deemed to be something that we need to do anyway.
Mr. Chair, I wonder whether in fact we can have that particular item as a follow-up issue, please.
Yep. Okay. Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Chair. I've got 3 things. First one is a technical point. On my download of my electronic material, I see that mine has already been marked up for me with red underlines and red things. It's very helpful. I wonder if this is a standard process, who's doing it, and got to give them some
staff guidance.
some other things. So I just want to know.
very happy about that. They're all my notes.
Are they all?
And they've jumped from my system into everybody.
Anyway, thank you.
I've read my papers. but
Thank you,
actually
Debbie.
We have an IT company.
So it was first thing. The second, but 2 other points. On item 2, about the clean heat funding model for the purchase of electric cars, it says here the information to be provided as part of the annual plan strategic planning process. I didn't know that there was necessarily any connection for that. I don't understand that or why it's necessary. I would have thought it could have run its own particular course. And my second point is that, thank you, Debbie, highlighted it for me, that I see in the OIA request we've got a person called Incognito. Now, is this a real name? Is it not? And I would have thought that you cannot make an OIA request anonymously. There has to be a person. So it is not a person, or someone's got an incognito. I'd like to know the reasons for them being incognito.
Chair, through you, if I could just deal with item number 2 before we go to the more interesting and colourful item number 3. The action, the status comment here has subsequently moved on, so a paper has been requested by the Chair of the Environment Services Committee on electric vehicles, and that's currently in preparation for the upcoming meeting on the 15th of March of Environment and Services. We have not included it in this stage, this proposed initiative for the annual plan, new initiatives, on the basis that there is significant policy work to be undertaken to consider whether or not this is something that could be done through a clean heat model, particularly given the fact that clean heat is tied to properties and properties to rates, and cars are mobile and couldn't be tied to properties and rates in the same way that clean heat subsidies can. So it is an ongoing issue that we're giving some thought to, but it won't be coming forward as part of the new initiative package that staff are proposing in our workshop tomorrow.
Thank you, James. We certainly need some innovation around this, don't we? This whole issue. I would just like to address Councillor Barker's first issue before I come to you, Liz, and that is we're trying to be really helpful to explain things in notes. That's why we've, especially special cases, Councillor. and yes, Liz.
Through you, Mr Chair, just in relation to the OIA 17006, I'll ask Mrs Hooper, because she's the one that deals with our Lagoima requests.
So that is the name that the request was lodged under. That's the only name that we were given. An email address only.
My recollection is that this particular report normally indicates the status of these requests, and that seems to have disappeared. Am I recalling incorrectly? It may be useful to know, in some cases people have asked for things and it's interesting to know they have, and that the material exists, and a councillor might actually like to see it, but it's hard to tell. Well, we can't tell from this whether these have been met or not, or what their status is.
So through you, Mr Chairman, yes, we can put the status. I think you're right, it was a column initially in the table, so I'm not quite sure when it disappeared. But the other point to note is that all these information requests are available on our website. So the information is there publicly available anyway if you need to go and have a look.
Seeing as we've got the ombudsman here, who's going to be ombudsman's representative here, is going to be talking about OIA requests. I think it'd be a fair request to them to ask: does an OIA Lagoima request have to come in from a person? Because I think the question here is that if incognito is not in fact a person, do we respond to it? But no, that's a different question. You said, do we have to respond? I'm asking, fundamental question, is it a person, identifiable person? If it's not, what is the status of it?
It's really good. We'll ask the ombudsman that.
Yeah.
Just on Lagoima, Chair, do we provide the information on the feedlot addresses? Is that something that would be provided under a Lagoima request?
Sorry, Len.
Which number it is?
Feedlot one.
Second page.
17008.
No, I think to the extent there's an address, it would normally my reaction, that we check this out further, would be as private information.
So would you only provide it knowingly if it's a resource consented feedlot or?
Resource consents, that's right. So resource consents are public information, clear.
So it just asked the location, so we just disclosed the catchment it was in.
Only if they're consented, not just, I mean, if a landowner turns up to a public meeting and they're in the land management database as someone with a feedlot, does that go out?
As I said, the specific location isn't released, only the catchment that it's within. For instance, Tukituki catchment or Mohaka catchment, it's nothing more specific than that released, unless it's public through a resource consent.
Any other questions? then I would, do we have a mover to move that we follow up on? Thank you. Other follow-ups? Councillor and Councillor Bevan. All those in favour? All right. Okay, item 5, call for business not on the agenda. Tom?
Lincoln survey.
I have one, Taniwha Dragon Economic Summit. Okay, that being done, no more. I'd like to move, we'll move to decision items, but before we do, I want to make a formal announcement that our Chief Executive, Andrew Newman, is resigning. It's just a bit tragic that seems to be the worst kept secret in Hawke's Bay, but such is life, and we weren't able to do it in a proper way. But I just want to record today that Andrew and the council have come to a mutual agreement on his future. He's been in some very big, intense projects for us in Taniwha, and of recently the water crisis. And he's been at the forefront of these, and it's been a major challenge, but he has handled it extraordinarily well. I just want to record that Andrew and I haven't always been on the same side of these issues. I've always found him to be as combative as I am. And so it quite often was a duel. And but I have to say that over the last 4 months, I think it is, he has been the consummate professional, and we have really worked well together. But for various reasons, as outlined in the press release, he has decided to move on, and we've come to a mutual agreement around that, and we wish him luck for the future, and I'm sure we're going to still see a lot more of him. So I won't take any comment, I'm just making that statement. And Andrew, you won't make any comment from you, will you? No comment from Andrew. But right now, I think I would like to leave the meeting and hand over to Councillor Barker to chair while I talk to members of the press and answer their questions, which I'm sure there are many.